Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 4 in season 19 of Be With Me. We're in 1 Peter. And I'm going to tell you 10 things today about prophets. It's a boring title, but it's going to get to a really cool thing about angels. So stick with me. This is from 1 Peter chapter number 1. 3 verses concerning this salvation. So this is all about the salvation, and it's going to talk about it from way back. Here we go. Concerning the salvation, the prophets who prophesied about the grace that was to be yours searched and inquired carefully, inquiring what person or time the Spirit of Christ in them was indicating when he predicted the sufferings of Christ and the subsequent glories. It was revealed to them that they were serving not themselves, but you, in the things that have now been announced to you through those who preach the good news to you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven, things into which angels long to look. So I'm going to go through 10 things that this passage says about prophecy, and I'm going to end with angels. So prophets, number 1, they are from before time, said truths about now. That is, they spoke of something that was to come in the future of time. Therefore, they were mouthpieces literally before their time, quote unquote. Number 2, they explained something for you now by words that they used back then. Number 3, they searched and inquired carefully into truths to try to understand something that was not fully understandable by them, but it is more understandable by us now. Number 4, they had the Spirit of Christ, quote unquote, the Spirit of Christ in them, indicating, telling them something, showing them something, which is to say that they had the Holy Spirit in them. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Holy Spirit is in the Old Testament. Listen into that. Inquiring what person or time the Spirit of Christ in them was indicating when he predicted the sufferings of Christ and the subsequent glories. So the Holy Spirit is in the Old Testament. And where? Certainly in the prophets and a few other choice people. Number 5, the prophets predicted the sufferings of Christ. In fact, one of my favorites is in Isaiah. Isaiah goes on, and then like 5 times in this massive book, there's a pause where there's a section literally about the suffering servant, which is clearly about Jesus when you look with the retrospectively. But it was written prospectively. They didn't know about Jesus other than these snippets that the Holy Spirit, that is the Spirit of Christ, indicated to them. All right. Number 6, they served not themselves. In fact, the life of a prophet was full of suffering and otherworldliness, persecution, accountability, responsibility, bearing the weight of people, martyrdom, and embarrassed. My favorite is from Isaiah chapter 20, where the Lord, as a sign, the Lord told Isaiah not to wear pants or shoes for 3 years as a sign against Egypt. Isaiah chapter 20, if you want to get a good laugh. Okay, number 7. Prophets served you, that is the people in 50 or 60 AD here, and they're serving us now in 2023 AD. So they served you, the biblical times, and they served us in their announcements. Number 8, the prophets spoke then of the salvation that is enjoyed now. So think about this. So this is a passage that ties the Old Testament and the New Testament together. It's the same salvation. The prophets of the Old Testament were preaching, if you will, about the salvation that is current. And it's the same Holy Spirit. It's the same Spirit of Christ. It's the same Christ. It's the same Father. All of the Old Testament just pours and points itself into the New Testament. Number 9, it was revealed to them, that is isolated prophets, and now it's announced to you kind of more broadly in preaching. It's like everybody gets the message now, where it was much more laser beamed at this era and time. And then number 10, this is my favorite here, this is something that angels didn't know. Angels longed for this good news. They longed, they've been bopping along as angels, not fully understanding the gospel. So similarly, the prophets didn't fully understand it, and the angels didn't fully understand it. But here's the thing. We've got this treasure. We've got the treasure that the prophets wanted and angels longed for. We have a message that special chosen spiritual people, the prophets, they wanted this to understand it. They searched and inquired carefully, probably not quite getting it. And heavenly beings, things into which angels longed to look. And we have it kind of laid out for us. So if you'd like to know this message, here's my encouragement. Stick around. 1 Peter is going to tell us about it. Come back tomorrow for a 7-minute podcast, and we'll get to the good news. The point today is how valuable it is, what a treasure it is. Holy people longed for this. Angels long for us, and here it's going to be given to us. Stick around. See you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.